We continue to hear that Moscow is, quote, anti-business. Can you tell us what specific policies and perceptions are anti-business and what you would do to change them? Repeat. You have 1 minute to respond. We continue to hear that Moscow is anti-business. Can you tell us what specific policies and perceptions are anti-business and what you would do to change them? Bill, you're first.
Thank you for the question. Well, the anti-business thing came in, started back a number of years ago. We decided not to let Walmart expand out to 77 acres east of town here. That's where one thing started. And they ended up leaving our town and went to Pullman. That's where it first started. That's one thing. And it's a barrage of things. It's just not one thing that's making this happen.
Hold it up a little bit more, make sure they're being heard.
Okay. That isn't the only thing that just happened. We also, Walmart left, went to Pullman, eventually came back here, and we lost thousands, millions of dollars in sales. Also, the 4-lane highway that's never been developed in the town, because for whatever reason we couldn't come to an agreement on what path we wanted to make it. That's another thing that caused a little bit of this. Taken a long time to get permits through. So that builder comes along, we want to get a permit, and it takes a long time to get it done. Much slower process in Moscow than other communities. And how would I get that fixed? I would get results out of the people who work here in the city to make it happen, because it happens all the time. So it is a combination of a bunch of factors.
Thank you. Nancy?
Well, the last I remember hearing this anti-business mantra was the election campaign season of 2009. Unfortunately, there is a group of folks in our community who are willing to jeopardize the reputation and the economic well-being of Moscow for the sake of the outcome of an election, which is really a short-sighted view. The policies that are in place in the city of Moscow are continuously reviewed by City Council, by Planning and Zoning Commission, who are our peers. They're volunteers in our community working on this. The Walmart issue was one of zoning. Nobody said, Walmart, you can't build a superstore. They said this is not appropriate for that part of zoning. Walmart actually came back, reopened, enlarged its store, and just donated $87,500 for our transit service. The ITD issue was the fact they needed to do an EIS, an environmental impact statement, as required by federal law. They figured that out. That was not a City of Moscow issue. And our building department is one of the most respected in the area.
And I'll run it over to John.
I think the issue is an issue of perception. And I think that we are perceived as being non-business friendly, partially because of the Walmart issue, partially because when you build something in Moscow, it seems it takes an inordinately long time to get it through the city, as far as getting it through planning and zoning, as far as getting it through the city building department. That being the case, there are a number of people who have decided that they no longer want to compete and they no longer want to build in Moscow. The highway is another issue that coming in from Thorn Creek, 3 ways to come in, it has been undecided. And yesterday, a lady I went to high school with was rear-ended out there. And there were 2 accidents on that road. That's something that needs to be taken care of, and I think it should be taken care of quickly. How am I doing now?
3, 2. Walter?
Thank you. It is an issue of perception. Unfortunately, perception can become reality. We are talked about in Boise and southern Idaho as not being business friendly, whether that is correct or not. Again, the Walmart issue was a big one. It made papers in the state. It was in the Spokesman Review. The fact that we created a zoning situation that Walmart decided to walk away from was a black eye if anybody wanted development in Moscow. If you didn't, it was a great victory. The highway is the other problem. I am unaware that there was an EIS done on the first 2/3 of that highway that's now been 4-laned. We did get forced into an EIS on the last part, the 6 miles, and if there's another lawsuit, there will be many, many more years and many more accidents before we see that fixed.
Thank you. Rebecca?
That's it's hard to know how to answer this, but since I've just been running for office for a couple of months here, I definitely have picked up on that vibe, that polarized vibe. I think it's more of an issue of perpetuation than perception, and I think it's perpetuated a lot right here in town. I don't know about out of town. That's just my take. But if we keep telling each other the story and repeating it, I don't think we're going to make any progress. I think that in the time that we lost this Walmart thing that we keep digging up, that the economy has changed, and I think that we're in transition to a new kind of economy. I know we're aware of a lot of this, and there are things that opportunities at Alturas, things in technology that are being developed. But I think we just need to stop perpetuating the story and find some things that we can get together on and go forward.
Thank you. Art?
Yeah, I have to agree with Rebecca to a certain extent that if we perpetuate this on ourselves, and we can make a lot of progress if we just stop dissing on Moscow as a retail area. We do really well, we can do better. As for the Walmart issue that has popped up, I've been on planning and zoning for 10 years, and I've been the chairman for the past 7. And that was an issue out east of town of zoning, and planning and zoning and city council both listening to what the citizens had to say at that time. We dealt with the issue subsequently through the adoption of a large-scale retail ordinance that allowed the expansion of Walmart where it is at the state line, and by doing so, I think we precluded having a dark store right on the border, and that would have put a real damper on economic development on the west side of town. So I think we did well through that issue, not as well as some would like, but I think that in any municipality, you're going to have pluses and minuses abounding. In this case, I think it turned out to be a plus. We are good for retail. Moscow is a good place. We just have to stop demeaning ourselves.
Thank you. And if you hang on to the mic, the next question is just